so we can go ahead and start this, open this meeting. And my understanding that we need to do a roll call vote to open a public hearing. Okay, so I would entertain a motion that we open a public hearing.
So moved.
So moves.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kowski. Here. Commissioner Ghost.
Yes.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
Yeah. Okay. So we are in a public meeting. Explanation of procedures. Do I need to go through our procedures?
You can do a brief summary if you'd like, just so that folks know.
Signature sheet. We do need signatures of folks that want to testify or speak today. So if you plan to say something or testify, we do need to get your signature on that. That would be nobody will be permitted to speak until you've been recognized by the chair. Public hearings shall be recorded electronically. We're recording video today, so we're keeping that record. Ask you to speak up loud enough that your testimony is recorded clearly and accurately. Please do not interrupt the speaker. If you have evidence of any kind to submit, that evidence to the staff should be entered into the record. 4 copies of each document or photographic item of evidence shall be provided. I think that covers. Once the chairman has declared the hearing closed, no further evidence or testimony will be presented or considered. Okay, those are the county's current procedures. First item on the agenda then, Dan, when I turn it over to you.
Okay, Dan Martinson, county planner for the record. In light of disclosure, this particular case is also one of my clients for this project. We've previously discussed this, that everybody was aware that these are my clients, and they were my clients prior to me taking this position to fill back in for administrator. So everybody's aware that this is, I'm wearing 2 hats on this one. But certainly there's, if you have any questions with that regard, I just want to make that clear and on the record. But as the planner, I'll give the staff report. And this is an application by Tom and Catherine Lutenschlager for a 2-lot minor subdivision in the R2 multifamily zone. It is case number MS-156-23. What you have in front of you is a package of the file. In particular, the staff report gives the draft or gives the findings of fact, the applicable legal standards, the draft conclusions of law, and the draft conditions of approval, and a recommended decision from me as the administrator. So I'll summarize, go through it fairly quickly, but just to go through the course of proceedings are, we take in an application, the application is processed, and in that processing is we go to agency review. Once the application is deemed complete, then we do a noticing for next available hearing. Much of this was done last fall, and then there was a pause throughout the winter, and it was reconvened late in the spring here. And so here we are today, and the hearing was noticed back in May for the 30-day comment period. And after the 30-day comment period, we scheduled this hearing for today. Notices were sent out and the site was posted as per the requirements for noticing. Findings of fact is that I am the applicant. Landworks Consulting is the applicant on behalf of and representing Tom and Catherine Lutenschlager. The applicant is requesting a minor subdivision for the creation of 2 lots. It goes into describing where these are at. They're located off of Silver Valley Road, just west of the Kingston exit, and off onto the south side of the road. A number of years ago, a previous subdivision was done called B&J subdivision, and this is a replat of lot 2 of that subdivision. So we're taking this was it 7 acres and cutting it into 2 pieces, a 4-acre piece and a 2-acre piece. Much like the previous subdivision, the zoning in the area is R2 multifamily residential, so it's intended for higher density. The surrounding zoning is much the same. It's residential and some rural. Surrounding uses are again rural residential, some timberland. The lot size for the area is actually large for the area. The minimum lot size throughout that area is 7,700 square foot minimum, a small city lot, basically. So these being 4 acres and almost 3, are actually larger than that. One house, the one property is owned by the applicant, or owned by the owners. And they are building a home on the one property and then subdividing the remainder for another lot. We go into what is the topography and vegetation, and that's pretty typical for the area. Native grass, trees, and timberland. The grades in this property are shallow to steep, up to 15 to 20%. On the upper end of the property. This particular property is between 5 and 15. There's no particular creeks or streams running through this property, so there's no sensitive areas to be concerned about. Comprehensive plan spells it out that the increased density in this area is preferred. So this meets all those requirements for additional recreation and residential lots. There is no, it's not within the area of city impact of any of the incorporated cities, so nobody was solicited for that. The water and sewer was a little confusing. If my explanation there didn't make sense, please ask questions. It is a bit confusing, and it has to do with the boundary lines of the districts. And because there's 2 different districts, it creates some confusion. But so in that explanation, the lower lot currently has a septic system. They had the ability to connect to sewer because they were within the district. They chose not to, but they are connected to the Cataldo water system. The upper lot is just outside of the water district, so it is not eligible for Cataldo water. So it will have its own private well. Either one it is within the sewer district, and so either one could have a sewer connection, or it is applicable to have a septic system if they so choose to do that. So that's where there's a little bit of confusion, because that boundary line for the water district cuts right through the middle of this particular area. So if there's questions there, don't hesitate. I'll attempt to explain it better. Access and transportation is this property was already developed as a subdivision with an access road off of Silver Valley Road, and the driveway going up to these the existing lots was already in place, and there's no particular need to make any improvements to it. Fire district was fine with the road and the access. Commented about proper addressing, as they always do and should, and we do that with building permits as well as is required. Good addressing and good marking so they can show up. It is within the Bunker Hill Overlay District, so we always reach out to ICP to get their comments, and in normal fashion, they responded with there's no particular proposal for dirt work here, but when they go to do any development, particularly with a new house site, they will be required to meet the ICP requirements. Same thing with stormwater. There's no particular development proposal right now, so there's no requirement for stormwater or site disturbance plan. When and if they go to do that, that will be part of the permitting process. Design standards, this proposed subdivision conforms to all the design standards within our code, 10.3.1. It's not within the floodplain area, so there's no particular notations or explanations required for floodplain. And as of today and leading into this meeting, we've had no public comments. So applicable legal standards are listed there. They just list the zoning in the comprehensive plan. The staff analysis just summarizes that we've met all the requirements and that it fits the rules, and there's no particular conditions to be made aware of that may need to be applied. So then the recommended conditions are pretty standard fare. These conditions are that you'll keep meeting the rules. You're going to meet any future rules. What's being approved is what's in this file and what's being proposed. There's a sunset date on the approval of this for 24 months. It gives everybody time to actually go finish it up. And that's usually in there for if somebody has to install infrastructure. They go have to put in sewer and water, sidewalks or whatever. There's a time frame on that. And then Panhandle Health requires a certain notation on the plat, which we've taken care of that. In here, I also put in the draft conclusions of law, and these are the established conclusions that need to be derived out of our code. And so I've marked them up as to find them in the affirmative. And so if you agree with that, then go for it. If you disagree, then we have to know why, and we put it in there. And so that just gives you that list to be able to walk through. to demonstrate that we've met those conclusions. And then we put in a recommended decision or a motion at the bottom there. And the recommendation is to approve it with the proposed conditions. That's all I have for a staff report. If you have particular questions about who's doing what to who here from both sides as a representative and as a planning administrator, I can answer both. So
Questions for the board? No, that was pretty thorough. I'd already read through all of that, so. All right.
it is a bit odd because I'm the same person, but the applicant and the owners are here. This is the folks behind me, Catherine and Tom Williamswager. If you had any particular questions for them, I'm sure they'd be glad to answer your questions, but they're here and available if you need them.
No, I don't have any questions. I think I've read through this last night and yesterday, so. If we don't have any questions, and we don't have any area of city impact or anything, right? So we don't have anybody from the city for this thing. And we don't have any written testimony. I'm going through my checklist here. And do we have any supporters or neutrals or opponents here
And
today?
I have none, I mean, other than the applicant and
Yeah.
myself.
Nobody filed anything,
Nobody submitted anything. I didn't even receive any phone calls. Sometimes I receive phone calls. People just have questions, but if they don't put it in writing, then it doesn't
Okay.
get on the record. But
Well, is there any reason we wouldn't close the public hearing now and make our decision?
as far as I'm concerned,
Are we ready to close the public portion and go ahead and
Yep.
make our,
before you just I might introduce, this is Kevin McGuire, the surveyor on this project. So if you had any particular questions for the survey, he's actually here for that, but that's who Kevin is here.
Okay.
okay,
Other than now you can go.
it's nice to meet you. All right, then, Chairman will, as chairman, I'll close the public hearing, which cannot find in my procedures that takes a vote. Yeah, it was. Okay, so I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And so now we would be to our deliberation. Commissioners, any thoughts or concerns, or we can't ask any more questions? So this is just between us now.
Nope.
No? No thoughts or concern? No further discussion of the application? If not, I would entertain a motion as is written and recommended here in the report, based on the findings of fact and conclusions of law set forth. Shoshone County Board of Commissioners order this application for subdivision case number 156-22 to be approved with proposed conditions.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any further or final discussion?
You should put in there as part of that motion is to verbally go through the conclusions and agree with the draft that's there.
The conclusions of law?
The conclusions of law, you should just get it on the record that you guys went through them.
On the record.
Because this is my recommendation to you.
So part of that motion would be that we accepted with the conditions. The proposal does conform with the goals and objectives contained in the comprehensive plan. The proposal does conform to the standards contained in Title 10 subdivision regulations of Shoshone County. The proposal is consistent with the purpose and intent of the existing zoning. The proposal use is compatible with the existing uses in the area. The proposed use is not detrimental to public health, safety, or well-being. Okay. All right, and you motioned.
And I seconded.
And we had no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. It is approved with proposed conditions. And with that, we will adjourn.
Cool. I will convert the staff report into an order of decision.